Welcome to Chicago Noir. I'm your host, Darrious Hilmon. Each month, we proudly showcase and amplify the African American experience right here in the Windy City. This month, we'll spend time with two incredible directors. One, a director of transformative stage productions. The other, a director of the transformation of lives. But first, few artists have shaped Chicago's theater scene quite like Ron OJ Parson. With a career spanning decades, Ron has become known not just for the stories he tells on stage, but for the voices he amplifies, bringing Black narratives, playwrights, and experiences to the forefront of American theater. From classic revivals to bold new works, his direction is marked by authenticity, empathy, and an unwavering commitment to truth. This is exactly why Ron's impact continues to resonate beyond the floodlights. Ron, yes. OJ, my friend.
How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing? I don't have a show that I'm trying to get up and running. How are you, sir?
It's exciting.
Okay.
Putting together something like this.
I love that.
And it's just, exhilarating, to be able to do it and to do it here. Mm-hmm. So all of those things make it, even though you're tired, but as soon as you get in here, the adrenaline kicks in and,
Tell me about the man and woman who created you.
Wow, that's interesting. You asked some good questions. I don't think I've ever gotten that question.
You're a good director.
That
oh my God.
So cool.
You must be great to work with. Thank you.
That is great. My mom and dad, my parents divorced early, but my mother, they met in the church in a play.
How about that?
Ironically, Pygmalion. My parents, hardworking, middle class Black family in Buffalo, New York. I'm from Buffalo. My dad worked 2 jobs. My mom, even just very educated, even though not school book learning.
Come on.
She was like she was an English teacher that didn't get to be an English teacher, if you know what I mean.
I do.
And my mother used to always tell, because I've been acting and directing. Well, I started directing as a teenager, like I was 16 years old, but acting since the 3rd grade. So all my life, really. And it's that feeling of that my mother really kind of, even though it was like, I don't know what you're going to do with this, but we're going to take you to this class, And because I had a feeling for performing and stuff, she thought that was a good thing. And just having done it, and I'm from a family of preachers. All my uncles, really both my grandfathers.
So there's a little performance in there.
It's all of that, and the public speaking and being able to
command the
project.
Stage. Yes.
And and to artists like us, the theater is that church, where we can do our thing, so to speak.
I love
that.
And
and my brother's a preacher, and like I said, both my grandfathers really were involved in the church, and my uncles. So it's in me.
Your brother, younger or older?
He's older.
What was, 2-part question.
Yeah.
What was your relationship growing up, and what is your relationship presently?
Wow, man, you really.
I'm a Barbara Walters today.
You're getting deep.
Okay.
My parents divorced when I was 12, and my brother was a little older, so he was already in college on a baseball scholarship. So we were already kind of separate. Yeah. And so throughout our lives, there's been separation, but trying to connect at certain times in our lives. But we went through an estrangement period where it was hard. In fact, I bring that around to this play. These two these middle-aged Black men, because when Ed first asked me about the play and wanted to talk to me about it, I broke into tears because I was like, which I'm getting ready to start crying now. I'm a crybaby. I ain't gonna lie. But it made me think about that relationship with my brother. And as we've explored this play, it's brought out a lot of those emotions, those kind of things that they did that we kind of never really got to do because of this estrangement. And I don't really want to get
Didn't even
into
matter
what
why, does
caused
it?
that.
No.
Yeah, it's just, it was unfortunate.
Yeah.
He drew two musical notes joined at the top. They're black notes of the same value, to be played one after the other. Two halves of one beat, so they sound like one.
Gentlemen, actors, who are you?
Please.
James Meredith. I play Gil.
Chike Johnson, and I play Benny.
Okay. What is it about this play that drew you both to it?
A lot of things kind of came together to make this work. The director, Ron OJ, is like one of my favorite people in the Chicago theater scene. He's been directing a long time. I've had a relationship with him over the years. He's great. I'd worked with Chike, I want to say in 2007 maybe.
Yeah, something like that.
But we were never really in scenes together in that show. And so we'd stayed in touch. We became friends over the years.
Yeah.
And have an opportunity to work with him as well was amazing. And then you throw in this theater, which is just a beautiful, gorgeous theater, a great place to play in. And all those factors together for me are what made it so appealing.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a great answer.
You're going with ditto.
Yeah, I'm going with
Final answer.
ditto.
Excellent.
I mean, the play itself is great because to be able to work with James and then work on something where there are two black men who are actually friends, buddies, and it's an honor. It's an honor to be in a play that is just dealing with black men and their relationship over the course of a year or so.
How did you know Daddy again?
Through my mom. My mom told me just yesterday, the man in that picture is my dad.
Tonight, you and me, bro, busting the groove.
We're not teenagers.
Man, we can be anything we want.
What was it specifically about him that felt like the right selection for Chicago Shakespeare Theater?
I had not seen a writer explore a relationship between two middle-aged black men on stage like that before. I found that just that difference, that intriguing, and I thought it was funny, thought-provoking, surprising, and took me personally into a world I didn't really know, which and then I spoke to Lolita Chakrabarti, the writer, who I've known for quite a long time. And of course,
she's also the writer of Life of Pi, the Academy Award.
She's a writer of Life of Pi. She also wrote a play called Red Velvet. I just sort of idly asked her whether she thought, because the place in the play is a big third character, whether she thought she could think about adapting the play and reframing the play in a different place. And I invited her to Chicago to come and, just hang out, meet some community leaders, meet some people from the South Side, walk around some neighborhoods, talk to some people, talk to Ron OJ. And she spent some very happy time here and reframed the play, which I read, and it felt like a new piece. The whole thing came together very smoothly, actually. Sometimes you have an idea in the theatre as a producer, and it might be a good idea, but there are bumps and things don't connect. This just sort of flowed very easily and smoothly right from the beginning when Lolita started the work over here in Chicago, in kind of reframing her two characters and putting them into a different environment, which I think expresses a lot about the city as well as the characters.
Chicago is such a rich, full city, especially for 54-year-old black men.
Yes. Is that the age of the characters?
Yeah, they're in their mid-50s, yeah.
Oh, man. I'm so, and I'm not pitching a product to our audience, but I'm so excited to see this and speaking with the actors, and I agree with you, incredible, talented actors, but you see the camaraderie and the connection between the three of you. This is an intimate piece, which makes it I would imagine, makes it more difficult because there's less mess you can fill in any empty gaps.
Man, you talk about difficult. Yeah. These guys got to box. They got to sing. They got to dance. They got to love each other. They got to, all the emotions of life are in an hour and a half that they're, they're going to come to. And luckily, swinging it back around, all the people we have around to help them get there. That's the thing.
Pandemic notwithstanding, what is different for you as Black men, still the outliers in this space, certainly in leading roles in this space? What is the current state, and are we better or worse than we were a decade ago for actors like you in this space?
I feel like a lot of theaters in recent years, in the last 5 years or so, have started to take a lot more chances with the amazing diverse talent that we have in the city. I think you're seeing a lot of wonderful plays, playwrights, actors who maybe you wouldn't have seen as much of 6 years ago or 7 years ago. I love that we have the opportunity now, I would say more than ever, to not only do work in these spaces, but also say, this is what I want to do and be listened to. And I'm not saying that wasn't the case before, but I feel like it is even more the case now than it was, say, 5 years ago. And so I feel that the work is great. It's even better than it's better than it's been before. And to have opportunities like this, to be on this stage in this beautiful theater that is so well known for Shakespeare, and to see that a story like this can be told here. I don't know that this story would be told here 10 years ago.
How does Chicago Shakespeare Theater, what is its commitment under your leadership and Kimberly Moats' leadership as executive director? What is your vision on exposing incredible productions like him to underserved audiences who are not necessarily the profile of theater goers presently?
Well, listen, the first thing to say is that we serve something, Kim and I, bigger than ourselves. We serve this institution, which serves the city. So, and we serve the communities within that city. So we have Shakespeare as the central part of our repertoire, but the conversation between contemporary modern work and Shakespeare is really important, of which him is a perfect expression. And within Chicago, there are so many different communities and different stories. And I think, first of all, the way to bring underrepresented audiences into your theater is to tell their stories on your stage. To me, it's communities that are underrepresented need to see themselves on stage. Young people need to see people on stage that they think, hey, that could be me. I could do that.
Yes.
And we need to try and tell their stories. Yeah. I think that's really important.
You just alluded to something. What counsel, because each of our jobs is for those of us who have scrapped and scraped some semblance of success out of the lockjaw of defeat. What counsel would you give to young actors, the folks who look like me or look different than the standard? What advice would you give them coming into this space right now, coming out of colleges, coming out of conservatories?
There are a few things.
Okay, all right, let's go through them.
I would say, if you're not getting hired, do your own stuff. I would also say, if you get a chance to do summer stock, where you are doing 2 or 3 plays at one time, in the summer, usually you're in 3 or more or 2 or more plays. Do that. I think nowadays it's a lot easier to produce your own stuff, and you don't need a lot of money. That's my opinion. I may be wrong. And know that not everybody is going to, some people will work right out of school. Yeah. Some people won't. And I was one of those people that did not work right out of school. I came out thinking, oh man, I'm gonna take on the world, and then strike right out of school. It was a strike, and then I was kind of like this, and it doesn't necessarily mean that you're not talented, because there are a lot of people who are way more talented than I am that are not working. It's a business that is very. It's not like track and field, for example. If you're the fastest, you're just the fastest, or any sport. If clearly you're the better person that day, or the better team that day. Yeah, I feel like this. Yeah, theater and acting in general, it's all subjective. So just know that
your counsel is so. As I sit here now, a mature adult, I think about how important it has been to hear someone like you when I was younger say that over and over, because it's easier said than done, but you need to hear it. James, any thoughts?
I would agree with everything he said. I feel like there's, working in Chicago as an actor, you have some degree, you have that degree of talent. Like we all have talent, but I feel like there's the two things that I would say are the ability, one, to work with others, because we all get to a certain level here where we're working, and we all have that talent, but not everyone works. And I find that over the years, you build relationships and you're kind to people, and you say good morning, and you say have a good night, and you ask the follow-up question, and you show that you're a good clubhouse guy.
Yeah, you play nice in the sandbox.
Yeah,
you can play with others.
Yeah. So that's super important, I think, in Chicago, as far as like continuing to work over the years, that attrition. And I think the other thing that I would say is focus, as this play brings up, on your mental health.
Yeah.
I think that this is a very tough business to get into. I always tell kids, if you can do anything else, do it. Because it's very mentally tough. And so hearing no 95% of the time can be very upsetting. And so we have to find ways to focus on our mental health, whatever that means to you. If you have a friend that you focus on talking to once a week, or you go to a therapist or what have you, we all think we have to go to these places when we're not doing well.
Absolutely.
Instead of when we are doing well, and try to continue to be well. And I think that's one of the themes, kind of in this play, that you focus on your health, on your, particularly if you look like us, because a lot of us don't.
CAN TV is the lens through which Chicago's stories are told, harnessing the unifying power of community television. With CAN TV On Demand, immerse yourself in the richness of our city through exclusive stories and programs tailored just for you, connecting you to the heartbeats of our streets, the voices of our people, and the spirit that makes Chicago unique. Discover the strength of your community on CAN TV On Demand.
Few things are more satisfying to me than shining a light on a leader who's changing the way we think about aging and community care. Estrelitta Harmon, Executive Director of the Center for Better Aging, is at the forefront of innovative approaches that prioritize dignity, independence, and quality of life for older adults. Through advocacy, education, and hands-on support, Estrelitta and her team are reimagining what it means to age well, especially in communities that have too often been overlooked. I sat in community with Estrelitta and her incredible team at CBA to learn more about her vision, the center's impact, and why meeting the needs of an aging population in a holistic way is more than just important. It moves us into miracle territory. Estrelitta, how are you?
I'm doing well.
Thank you for making time. You've got a lot going on. You're doing a lot of incredible things, but we wanted to spend time with you. Your personal and professional story, I think, will resonate with our viewers. So let's begin at the beginning, shall we?
Yes.
Tell me about the man and woman who created you.
Beautiful question, by the way.
We're already off to a great start.
Yes. My mother is still to this day my shiro. She is just the epitome of grace, and yet powerful also. She had this great way, and even still does, of being both strong and gentle. And I admire it so much. And she worked over 30 years in the healthcare industry, and I am reminded of her all the time now, you know, walking through the hallways and my heels
So you come at
click-clacking.
this honestly.
Yes, and I remember being that little girl with her at work and hearing her click-clacking down the hallway with her heels and saying hello to everyone, and just the power and the grace that she always carried with herself in all the spaces that she was in. Hugely influenced by how she shows up in the world. And if she has a bad day, you wouldn't know it because it doesn't last long. She's one of those people who, you know, is incredibly resilient, and I've gained that resiliency from her for sure.
What's her name?
Regina.
I need to spend time with Regina.
Regina would love to spend time with you.
Okay, we're going to make that happen.
Yes.
I want good energy around. And what about your
Yes.
father?
My father is a powerful man, and I can't talk about my father without talking about his parents, because so much of his life is about carrying on legacy. And so his father was actually alderman of the 20th Ward, so this neighborhood right here.
Come on.
He actually passed away in 1990 here at St. Bernard Hospital, so truly a full circle moment for me to be doing work at St. Bernard right now. But a respected man, someone who was an authority, but also, you know, committed to his community. His influence on my life is hugely just him showing up as the provider, the protector, but also always thinking, you know, 20, 30, 40 years out, or generationally. And so where my mom taught me how to kind of show up daily as my best self, my dad is my constant reminder of the legacy that I will leave behind, and what am I doing daily to build towards that. But both of them have just taught me just how to show up as my best self always, and how to integrate that into my interactions with people too.
Wow. Wow. I'm already seeing through lines, to clear through lines. Everything I believe is by divine order and appointment. You sitting here makes even more sense.
Yes.
The more you talk, I don't know if you had a choice. I think this was divine destiny for you. So let's talk about what brought you to Center for Better Aging. I'm gonna give you a three-parter.
Okay.
What brought you to Center for Better Aging? What keeps you at Center for Better Aging? And what do you want? What is Center for Better Aging here to do for our community?
Yes. One, it was the opportunity to do great work in the south side of Chicago. But two, it was an opportunity to do aging-related work in a community that truly deserved these resources. And I didn't want to miss that opportunity to truly bring transformative care to a neighborhood and a community that hadn't had these type of efforts and these millions of dollars flow into it in this kind of strategic way focused towards older adults. So I was really excited to leverage this transformative model, but to do it on the south side that is near and dear to my heart, and do it in a way that is respectful and beautiful and dignified, and just amplifies all of their beautiful stories.
Talk to me when I start coming here, getting support.
Anytime.
What is what does the experience look like for a South Side Chicagoan who walks in here and goes, what do you do and how can you support and help me age gracefully?
The Center for Better Aging is a clinical space that's housed within St. Bernard Hospital, but because we are a collaborative, it extends far beyond the hospital. And so our clinic is truly unique. We have a large interdisciplinary care team. So where older adults typically may feel rushed and like a visit may be stressful, here it's easy. They show up, there's music playing while they're waiting, but also the appointment times are longer. So they have face-to-face time with their provider. If it's their first visit, it's 1 hour. So they're actually having the space and time.
In 2025?
Yes, in 2025.
Okay. All right.
Their visit to established care is 1 hour. And during that time, not only will they get time with the provider, they will also have an opportunity to speak to a social worker. They'll have an opportunity to speak to their pharmacist in the exam room.
In one sitting?
In one sitting. But it doesn't stop there. I feel like a salesperson. It doesn't stop there. There's more.
But wait, there's more. I love
Wait,
this.
there's more.
Because I'm a potential client, so yes, what else?
Yeah, so because of our partnerships, we also have care coordinators. So we provide transportation, and we can help individuals get connected to some of the phenomenal services that are already available to Chicago residents, like utility assistance, Meals on Wheels, things that are provided through Alzheimer's Association, which are one of our partners. And so we're connecting them to resources that will help them stay healthy and whole, however they are choosing to age. And so the model is really meant to support people wherever they are, but also keep them healthy at home and not in the hospital.
Yes.
And support them in their healthcare journey, whether it's with diet or exercise.
So one of the main things that we focus on is preventive, educating, and advocating. So we have seen so many changes in patients. I have patients that are substance abusers, but they come to their appointments and they say, "Hey, Miss Williams."
Because you're going to respect and not judge them.
Because they say, "Hey, Miss Williams, I only did it 3 times this week, and it's better than 7, right?"
Come on.
Okay. If they tell me that they smoked 8 cigarettes today, but they're not doing a pack. So we do a lot of personalized care at the Center for Better Aging. We are centralized in a great area in Inglewood. St. Bernard has a wonderful outpatient clinic here that has so many specialties here. We have our cardiology clinic here. We have ophthalmology here. We have podiatry here. We have a new CT scan here. We have the dentist here. We have—
You had a dentist here?
Yes. We have so many different specialties here at this clinic, and Center
Watch
for
me
Better
start
Aging.
coming here. Go on, Dr. Nurse Williams.
At the Center for Better Aging is right smack in the middle.
Miss Abbott,
Yes,
how are you today?
I'm blessed. I feel good,
Look good.
grateful.
How about that? How did you find your way to Center for Better Aging?
My orthopedic doctor that's here on staff, she mentioned the clinic to me. She thought I might be interested in it, and I am. I decided to come and join the clinic.
Okay. And what was that? How easy was it to join? Talk about that experience. What was that like coming in, going, what is this?
It was very comfortable. The staff here is awesome,
They are.
so that makes it so easy to be able to come and talk about things and not feel rushed
Yeah.
with medical issues that you're dealing with.
So do an ad for CBA.
Well, I would say it's the best place to come to. I mean, if you got questions or you just a little bit scared to talk about what's hurting you, you don't have to feel like that here. I'll tell you this. I had cataract surgery. The last surgery was this past March. I wouldn't have known I had cataract if my nurse doctor, Lachey Williams, who is
Say it.
awesome. If she hadn't said, "When was the last time you had an eye exam?" I said, "Well, when Skip was a pup." You know, and I went, I had the eye exam and found out I had cataract. And I was like, wow, no doctor ever told me that. You know, I was wondering why, I'm not seeing stuff as clear.
And then we just go, that must be
And just
age.
put it on age.
Yep.
It was something that was very much needed.
Okay. You know what? You are a brilliant, walking, talking, breathing, glorious ad for this organization. So
Thank you.
No, thank you very, very much. It is a pleasure talking with you.
It's my pleasure also.
Thank you for making time for this.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate you. My sincere thanks to Ron OJ Parson and Estrelitta Harmon for sharing their incredible stories with our viewers. HIM runs now through May 25th at the Chicago Shakespeare Theater. And thanks to you for watching Chicago Noir from your sofa or your favorite park bench. We don't take your continued support lightly or for granted. Until next time, take good care of you and each other.